Settle in now and let the room around you become quiet. Tonight, we climb toward the edge of the winter trees, where the forest thins, the mountain opens, and the wind begins to move freely across the snow. The path behind you has become a soft line between the pines. The sky is lowering. The light is fading. And above the last dark trees, a storm is gathering along the ridge. This is not a story about rushing. It is a story about moving carefully, about noticing the shape of the snow, the direction of the wind, the shelter offered by the last pines, and the deep quiet inside a snow cave when the mountain night closes around it. Before we begin, if you enjoy quiet sleep stories like this, you can subscribe for more calm journeys, peaceful cold weather stories, and relaxing bedtime narration. You can also leave a comment and tell us where you are listening from, what time it is where you are, and what winter story you would like to hear next. It is always wonderful to see how far these stories travel around the world. Now, get comfortable, let the room around you grow quiet, and allow the story to begin. The forest has been climbing with you for most of the afternoon. At lower ground, the pines were tall and close together, their trunks dark, their branches heavy with old snow. The path was protected there. The wind could be heard above, moving across the mountain, but it rarely reached you directly. It passed from crown to crown, shaking loose small veils of powder that drifted downward in silence. Now the trees are changing. They stand farther apart. Their tops are lower and more twisted. Their branches grow mostly on one side, shaped by years of wind coming down from the ridge. Snow lies deeper between them, unmarked except for the occasional track of a small animal crossing from one cluster of cover to another. The world is becoming simpler. White ground, dark trees, blue shadow, gray sky. The air is colder here than it was below. It enters through the seams of clothing with patient fingers. It gathers around the wrists. It stings the face where the scarf does not cover. Each breath arrives sharp and clean, then leaves in a pale cloud that is immediately taken by the wind. You stop beside a bent pine and look upward. Ahead, the forest ends, not all at once, but gradually, as if the mountain is asking the trees to give way. Beyond the last trunks, the slope opens into a wide field of snow rising toward the ridge. The surface is smooth in some places and carved in others, shaped by wind into hard waves, soft hollows, and deep drifts tucked behind rocks. The storm is already moving there. You can see it in the sky, a darker band pressing over the ridge. Snow lifts from the upper slope in long white streams. The wind carries it sideways before it falls again. Visibility is still good enough to see the line of the ridge, but not for long. You know the choice before you name it. Going higher would be unwise. The open slope will not shelter you. The wind will erase tracks, steal warmth, and make direction uncertain. Down in the forest, there might be better cover, but the light is fading too quickly to return far. What you need is not distance now. It is a place to stop, a place protected enough to last through the night. You turn slowly, studying the edge of the tree line. The last pines are not tall, but they are useful. Their branches catch snow and build drifts behind them. The rocks beneath them break the wind. The slope itself curves slightly inward here, forming a shallow bowl where snow has gathered deeper than in the exposed spaces around it. There, behind a cluster of twisted pines, a large drift has formed against a boulder. It rises higher than your waist, rounded on top, firm along the windward side, softer in the lee. The trees above it bend low, holding a dark roof of branches over part of the snow. It is not a cave yet. It is only a place where the mountain has stored snow. But stored snow can become shelter. You step toward it slowly, testing each footfall. The snow changes under your boots as you approach. On the open side, it is wind-packed and firm. Near the trees, it becomes deeper, softer, layered. Your walking pole sinks almost to the handle in one place, then strikes something firm beneath another. You move carefully, not fighting the snow, only learning its shape. At the drift, you kneel. The wind is weaker here, not gone. It still moves through the pines and over the top of the drift. But the boulder and the trees break its force. The air beside the snubbing feels less sharp. You press a gloved hand into the drift and feel resistance. Firm enough to hold, soft enough to cut. This can work. You set down your pack in the shelter of the pines and take out the small shovel strapped to its side. The metal is cold, even through the gloves. The light is fading faster now. You look once more toward the open slope, where blowing snow has begun to blur the ridge. Then you turn back to the drift. The mountain night will come, whether you are ready or not. So you begin. Chapter 1. Digging into the drift. The first cut into the snow is always the hardest. The shovel bites into the drift with a soft, dense sound. Not like loose powder, not like ice, something between them. Wind-packed snow has weight. It holds together. It resists, then breaks into blocks and heavy scoops that slide down around your boots. You work low at first. The entrance should not be high. A high opening lets warm air escape too easily and invites wind inside. So you begin near the base of the drift, cutting a narrow tunnel just wide enough for your body and pack. Snow gathers behind you in a growing mound, and you push it to the side where it can become a small wall against the wind. The motion warms you quickly. Shovel in, lift, turn, push aside again. Each movement is deliberate. You do not rush. Sweat is dangerous in deep cold. Clothing that becomes damp will chill you later when the work stops and the night deepens. So you pause often enough to breathe, to feel whether your back is overheating under the layers, to open the scarf for a moment, then close it again before the wind can take too much warmth. The tunnel grows slowly. At first, it is only a hollow in the snubbing. Then it becomes a passage. The walls are rough, carved by the edge of the shovel. Your breath touches them and leaves a faint frost. Small grains fall from the ceiling where your shoulder brushes too close. You widen carefully, pressing the walls with the flat of the shovel to smooth and strengthen them. Outside, the world is becoming darker. The open slope has almost disappeared behind blowing snow. You can still see the pines around you, the boulder above the drift, the dark shape of your pack, but the distance beyond them is fading. The storm is coming down the mountain now. Not violently yet, steadily, with the patience of weather that knows it does not need to hurry. You crawl partway into the tunnel and begin to dig upward and inward. A good snow cave is not simply a hole. The sleeping platform should be higher than the entrance because cold air sinks. If you shape the interior correctly, the coldest air will pool near the low doorway, while the space where you rest will remain slightly warmer. Not warm in the way a room is warm, only warmer by a few precious degrees. But in winter, a few degrees can change the whole night. You carve the chamber slowly. The shovel handle knocks once against the low ceiling, and you stop at once. You do not want the roof too thin. Snow must remain above you, thick enough to insulate, strong enough to hold. You imagine the shape from within, a rounded ceiling, gently sloping walls, a raised sleeping shelf, a low entrance tunnel, a small vent. The cave begins as labor. Then, little by little, it becomes a place. You can feel the change when the wind no longer touches your face. Inside the drift, sound is different. The storm outside becomes muffled. The scraping of the shovel is close and soft. Your breath sounds louder. Even your heartbeat seems nearer in the enclosed space. You stop and sit back on your heels in the half-formed chamber. The air is cold, but still. Stillness is the first warmth of a snow cave. You remove one glove just long enough to touch the wall with bare fingertips. The snow is smooth and dense. It burns with cold immediately, and you put the glove back on. But the wall holds. It does not crumble. It does not collapse. The drift is good. You return to work. The sleeping shelf takes shape along the back wall. You cut it flat enough to lie on, then smooth it with your hands, pressing loose snow into hollows. You leave a lower trench between the shelf and the entrance where cold air can settle. The chamber is not large. It should not be. A smaller space is easier to warm with body heat and breath. You dig until your arms ache. Then you stop before the ache becomes clumsiness. Outside the entrance, evening has nearly ended. The pines are black against a gray-blue world. Snow moves past them in thin lines, crossing the opening. Your pack is partly covered already. You pull it inside the tunnel and brush it clean before the snow can melt against the fabric. The cave is not finished, but it exists. You sit at the entrance and listen to the storm gathering. The open mountain is gone now. The ridge is gone. The sky is gone. Only the near trees remain, and the small hollow you have made inside the drift. For the first time since reaching Treeline, you feel the body understand that it may have a place to last the night. Chapter 2. The Shape of Warmth. A snow cave must be shaped with care, even after the digging is done. You begin by checking the ceiling, not with panic, with attention. You run the back of a gloved hand lightly along the roof, feeling for weak places, sharp points, and loose pockets. A smooth dome is better than a jagged one. Sharp ridges can drip later if the interior warms slightly. Thin spots may weaken under new snow. So you smooth the ceiling patiently, shaving away small, uneven places, pressing others firm, letting the curve become softer and stronger. The cave grows quieter with each adjustment. Outside, the storm is louder now. Wind moves over the top of the drift and through the last pines with a low, continuous sound. Snow strikes the entrance, not hard, but constantly. Inside, the walls turn that sound into a hush. You make the air hole next. Using the handle of the shovel, you push carefully upward through the ceiling near the entrance side, not above the sleeping shelf. The handle breaks through after a moment, and a thin line of darker blue appears where the sky should be. Snow dust falls onto your sleeve. You widen the vent just enough, not too large. It must let air move without inviting the storm in. You mark the vent from outside as best you can with a small upright branch pushed into the snow above it. If snow builds during the night, you may need to clear it. A cave that holds warmth must also breathe. Back inside, you prepare the sleeping platform. The snow shelf itself is too cold to lie on directly. It will pull heat from your body all night. So you go outside to the last pines and gather what the trees can spare. Not living branches, if you can avoid it. Dead lower limbs first, brittle and dry. Then small fallen boughs, partly buried near the trunks. A few evergreen tips where the storm has already broken them loose. You carry them back in bundles. The wind pushes at your shoulders whenever you step outside the cave, reminding you how exposed the mountain has become. Snow crosses your path so quickly that your earlier footprints are already softening. The pines bend and release powder. The world beyond the little cluster of trees is a moving wall of white. Inside the cave, the quiet feels deeper each time you return. You lay the branches across the sleeping shelf, thicker pieces first, then softer evergreen boughs, then the folded ground cloth from your pack. The platform becomes uneven but insulated. A few needles release a sharp, clean scent into the cave. Pine and snow, cold and green. The smell makes the shelter feel less like a hole and more like a place prepared by hand. You sit on the shelf and test it. The cold still comes through, but slower. Slower is what you need. You unpack only what matters. A dry pair of socks. A small stove or candle lantern used carefully. A metal cup. A little food. A water bottle wrapped in cloth to slow freezing. A spare layer. A small cloth for wiping condensation. A headlamp turned low. Everything else remains packed, because disorder wastes time and warmth. In a small snow cave, each object needs a place. Not many places, just enough that you can find things in darkness without searching. You remove your outer gloves one at a time and check your fingers. Cold but moving. You warm them under your arms before continuing. The cave has begun to hold your breath. You can feel it in the slight change of air. Not warm, but less harsh than outside. Your own body, your careful work, the thick snow walls, the blocked wind, the raised shelf, all of it is beginning to create a small pocket of survivable night. You light the candle lantern for a few minutes. Its flame is tiny. Still, the effect is immediate. The snow walls take the light and scatter it softly. The whole cave glows blue-white and amber at once. Shadows curve along the dome. The entrance tunnel becomes dark by contrast. The pine boughs on the platform look almost black, except where the flame touches their needles. You watch the flame carefully. A candle in a snow cave is not decoration only. It is light, a little warmth, and a sign of the air. If the flame weakens strangely, you pay attention. If the cave grows too sealed, you clear the vent. Everything here is practical, even beauty. For now, the flame stands steady. You breathe slowly. The storm presses outside. The cave holds. The mountain has not become safe, but it has become smaller. It has narrowed to this chamber, this shelf, this candle, this breath, this careful arrangement of warmth. You take off the damp outer scarf and hang it near, but not too near the lantern. You change into the dry socks, working slowly so your feet are exposed as little as possible. The relief of dry wool is immediate. It feels almost luxurious in the small cave. Then you place the wet socks where they may dry a little from body warmth and air movement. Nothing dries fully in a snow cave, but better is enough. The night continues to build outside, and inside, the shape of warmth becomes clearer. Chapter 3. Melting snow for the night. Water is the next task. In deep winter, water surrounds you and still must be made. The snow outside is endless, but eating snow would steal warmth from the body. It must be melted, slowly, patiently, with fuel conserved and the cave ventilated. You gather clean snow from just outside the entrance, choosing the fresh surface layer away from boots and branches. It fills the metal cup quickly and then shrinks almost to nothing as it melts. This is always surprising, even when you expect it. A full cup of snow becomes a small amount of water, so you add more. Wait, add more. Wait. The little stove flame or candle warmth works slowly. You keep the flame near the entrance side where air can move. The cup begins to steam faintly. Drops form along the rim. Your hands, wrapped around the cup at intervals, receive some of that heat and give thanks without words. Outside, the storm deepens. You hear it less as separate gusts, now and more as a continuous movement over the snow. The pines creak once in a while, but the sound reaches the cave softened, as though traveling through cloth. Snow hits the entrance and falls away. Some of it gathers in the tunnel, and you clear it before it can build too high. You sip the first warm water. It changes the whole body. The throat softens. The chest loosens. The stomach receives the warmth and spreads it outward slowly. There is no flavor except metal, snow, and faint smoke from the small flame. But in that moment, it tastes like shelter. You melt more, enough to drink, enough to refill the bottle a little, enough that you will not need to leave the cave immediately in the deepest part of the night. The work becomes rhythmic. Scoop snow, melt, sip, add snow, watch steam, clear entrance, check vent, listen, breathe. It is not a list while you do it. It is simply the order of care. One action leads naturally into the next because each one protects the small space you have made. The cave asks for attention, and in answering it, your mind becomes calmer. You eat a little food with the warm water. Bread, dried fruit, a piece of cheese, something dense enough to become heat later. You do not eat quickly. The body is tired from climbing and digging, but it does not need to be overwhelmed. Each bite is taken slowly, chewed completely, followed by a warm sip. Outside, night has fully arrived. You cannot see it except as darkness in the entrance tunnel. The candle glow does not reach far. Beyond the low opening is storm, Treeline mountain, and the wide open slope now hidden by snow. You are glad you stopped. The thought arrives quietly and without drama. You are simply glad. You check the vent again. A small circle remains open above. Snow has begun to feather around its edge, but air still moves. You clear it gently with the branch kept near the entrance. The candle flame steadies again after shifting in a faint draft. Good. You settle back onto the sleeping shelf. The pine boughs crack softly beneath your weight, then hold. The ground cloth keeps needles from poking through too sharply. Your dry socks are inside your boots now, and the boots are loosened, but not removed completely. You may need them quickly if the entrance drifts or the vent closes. In winter shelter, rest and readiness lie close together. The cave glows softly. The snow walls are no longer blank. They hold the marks of the shovel, the smoothing of your gloves, the round ceiling, the low trench where cold air settles, the entrance tunnel leading outward into blue-black night. It is a room made from weather. You think of all the cold moving outside, across the open slope, around the boulder, through the twisted pines, over the ridge, down into the valley, along the trail you climbed. And then you think of the cold that has been slowed here, by snow, by shape, by stillness, by care. You rest one hand against the pine boughs and feel the shelter through touch. This is not comfort in the usual sense. It is something more elemental. The knowledge that you used the mountain's own snow to make a pocket in the storm. The knowledge that air can be managed, heat can be conserved, breath can be protected, and night can be made smaller. The water in the cup cools. You drink the last of it before it can freeze along the rim. Then you lower the flame. Chapter 4. The first long hour. The first long hour after settling in is the hardest to trust. The work is done for now. The cave is shaped. The vent is open. The entrance is low. The sleeping shelf is covered. Warm water has entered the body. Food has been eaten. The candle is low. The storm remains outside. And yet the mind continues checking. Was the ceiling thick enough? Is the vent clear? Will the entrance drift closed? Are the socks dry enough? Is the shelf insulated enough? Will the wind shift? Will the storm last until morning? These thoughts are not useless. They come from the part of the mind that wants you to remain safe. So you do not fight them. You answer them one at a time with attention. You check the ceiling by sight. It holds its smooth curve. You check the vent, still open. You check the entrance, partly drifted but clear. You check the candle, small and steady. You check the body, cold at the nose and cheeks, warm enough at the core, feet improving, hands tucked close, breath calm. Enough. You lie back against the pack, which has become a pillow and backrest. It is not soft, but it supports you. The sleeping shelf is slightly higher than the entrance, just as it should be. The coldest air gathers below in the shallow trench, invisible but understood. Above it, where you rest, the air is still and a little warmer. The storm outside becomes the main sound, not loud inside the cave, more like a distant river made of wind and snow. Sometimes it rises, and the pines creak above the entrance. Sometimes it lowers, and the cave becomes so quiet that you can hear tiny grains of snow settling along the tunnel. Your breathing adjusts to the space. At first, it sounds too loud. Then it becomes part of the cave, a slow cloud leaving the body, touching cold air, fatting. You keep the scarf loose near the mouth, so it warms the breath without trapping too much moisture against the skin. When the fabric grows damp, you shift it slightly. Small adjustments. That is the rhythm now. You think of the tree line outside, just a few steps away, and yet unreachable in the storm. The last pines are taking the wind on their bent shoulders. Their roots grip rock and frozen soil beneath the snow. Their branches catch drifting powder. Without them, the snowbank might not have formed here. Without the boulder, the drift might not have held. Without the drift, there would be no cave. Shelter is rarely one thing. It is a cooperation of many things. Tree, rock, snow, slope, wind direction, tools, hands, time, attention. You are part of that cooperation now. The thought is calming. The cave is not separate from the mountain. It is a small arrangement within it. The storm moves over you. The snow surrounds you. The pines stand near you. The cold is outside and also inside, but less inside, slowed inside, made manageable. You close your eyes for a while. Images from the climb return gently. The lower forest, the trail disappearing under fresh snow, the first view of the open slope, the dark ridge, the bent pine, the drift behind the boulder. They pass one at a time, not demanding anything. Memory becomes another kind of warmth, proof that the day has moved behind you. A gust pushes snow across the entrance. You open your eyes. The candle flickers, but does not go out. You wait, listen. The cave holds. The roof does not shift. The entrance remains dark but open. You reach with the branch and clear the tunnel a little. Snow falls inward. You push it into the cold trench where it can stay below the sleeping shelf. The act is simple, practiced now, and when it is done, the cave feels ready again. You settle back. The first long hour begins to soften. The mind checks less often. The body starts to believe the shelter. Chapter 5. Blue silence inside the snow. Deep night turns the cave blue. Not bright blue. Not the blue of sky or tile or water. A darker, softer blue that seems to come from the snow itself. The candle is very low now, and its amber light reaches only a small part of the wall. Beyond that, the cave glows faintly with reflected stormlight, moonlight hidden behind clouds, or perhaps only the imagination of light inside snow. You wake from a shallow drift and do not know at once how long you slept. The storm continues. The vent is still open. The entrance is partly narrowed, but not sealed. The air is colder near your face than before, so you sit up slowly and adjust the opening with the branch. A little powder falls inward and lands on your sleeve. You brush it away before it can melt. Then you listen. The mountain night has changed. The wind is less sharp now, but the snow is heavier. You can hear it settling on the roof in soft, weightless touches that somehow add up to pressure. You lift one hand and press gently against the ceiling. It feels solid. No sagging. No wetness. Good. You move carefully to avoid brushing the walls too much. Every touch knocks down frost or snow grains. The cave is strong, but it is still made of snow. Respect keeps it strong. You take a small sip from the bottle. The water is very cold, but not frozen. You tucked it deep enough in the pack, near your body heat. After drinking, you place it back exactly where it was. Order matters more in darkness. A lost bottle or glove is not a small inconvenience here. Everything has its place because everything matters. The candle finally goes out. You let it. There is no need to relight it immediately. The cave remains visible in faint blue darkness. Your eyes adjust. The entrance is a deeper shadow. The vent is a barely visible pale circle above. The pine boughs beneath you are only texture now, felt more than seen. Without the flame, the quiet deepens. You can hear yourself swallow. You can hear the cloth of your sleeve when you move. You can hear the tiny settling sounds inside the snow walls. None of these are alarming. They are simply the cave being itself. You lie back. The pack supports your shoulders. The sleeping shelf holds. Your feet are not warm, but they are not numb. Your hands are close to your chest. The scarf warms the breath. The outer layers are loosened enough to prevent sweat, tightened enough to hold heat. This is the balance. Not too hot, not too cold, not sealed, not exposed, not asleep too deeply, not awake with worry. Somewhere in the middle is the night you can endure. Your thoughts slow. They move from practical checks into softer things. The shape of the pines outside. The way the snowbank looked before you entered it. The sound of the shovel cutting the first tunnel. The first sip of warm water. The strange beauty of candlelight on snow. The relief of dry socks. Each memory is small and useful. The storm becomes less like a threat and more like weather passing through its own world. You do not have to understand the entire mountain tonight. You only have to remain in the pocket you made at its edge. A soft thud lands above. You open your eyes. For a moment, your body tightens. Then you hear the slide of snow from a branch outside, falling onto the drift and settling. The roof still holds. The cave remains quiet. You breathe out slowly. The mountain is speaking in its sleep. You do not need to answer every sound. You let your eyes close again. Blue silence gathers around you. Chapter 6. The storm passes over. The storm reaches its strongest point sometime in the night. You know because the sound changes again. The wind returns harder, not inside the cave, but above it. It moves over the drift and through the tree line with a deep, steady force. The pines groan softly. Snow races across the entrance and packs itself into the tunnel faster than before. You sit up, slowly, no wasted movement. You take the branch and clear the entrance. Once, twice, a third time more carefully. You do not open it wide, only enough to keep air moving and prevent the tunnel from sealing. The cold that enters is immediate, but temporary. You shape the snow to the side, using it to thicken the low wall rather than letting it spill over the sleeping shelf. Then you check the vent. The small hole above has narrowed. You clear it from inside with the branch, pushing gently upward until loose snow breaks free. Air moves again. The candle is not lit, but you can feel the difference in the cave. A subtle freshness, a slight change against the face. You settle back and wait. The wind continues. This is the part of the night when it would be easy to imagine the storm as endless. But no storm is endless. It may last hours. It may last until morning. It may change direction. It may bury the entrance again and again. But it is still weather moving through time. You do not need to defeat it. You only need to respond to each thing it changes. The roof holds. The walls hold. The sleeping platform remains dry enough. The entrance breathes. The vent breathes. You are tired now, deeply tired, but the tiredness is quieter than before. It is less fear inside it. The cave has already proven itself through several hours. Your hands know where the branch is. Your body knows where to sit up without striking the ceiling. Your mind knows the order of checks: entrance, vent, ceiling, body, breath. Enough. You take one small piece of food and eat it slowly. The body needs fuel to stay warm. The taste is plain and nearly frozen, but after a moment, it softens in the mouth. You follow it with a small sip of water. Then you tuck the bottle away again. The wind begins to sound farther away. Not gone, only less direct. Perhaps the storm has shifted down the slope. Perhaps the snow walls have thickened enough to muffle it better. Perhaps your ears have simply accepted the sound. Whatever the reason, the cave feels calmer. You lie down again. This time, sleep comes closer. The mind no longer tries to hold the whole night at once. It holds only the next breath, then the next, then the next. The body is curled inside the layers. The snow is thick around you. The pines stand guard not as soldiers, but as trees doing what trees do: bending, catching snow, breaking wind, remaining. You drift. In the drifting, the cave becomes larger and smaller at the same time. Larger because it contains the whole world you need. Smaller because all details soften into breath and warmth. The mountain continues outside, but you do not travel through it now. You are inside its snow, held at the edge of the trees, waiting without hurry for morning. Chapter 7. Morning in the Snow Cave. Morning does not arrive as sunlight. It arrives as a pale change in the walls. The blue darkness becomes lighter. The entrance, nearly black through the night, turns gray. The vent above glows faintly. You open your eyes slowly and remain still, letting the body remember where it is before moving. The cave has survived. The roof is smooth above you. The walls are firm. The sleeping shelf is compressed where you lay, but still raised. The cold trench near the entrance is partly filled with snow you pushed there during the night. The pine boughs beneath you smell stronger now, warmed slightly by your body and the enclosed air. You listen. The storm is gone, or nearly gone. Outside, there is only a faint wind and the occasional fall of snow from branches. The silence after a mountain storm feels enormous. It presses less than the storm did, but it reveals more space. You can sense the open slope beyond the pines, the ridge hidden somewhere above, the valley below, all of it waiting under new snow. You sit up carefully. The body is stiff but present. Shoulders sore from digging, arms heavy, knees tight, feet cold but responsive, fingers stiff but moving. You take inventory without drama, the way the night has taught you. Then you clear the entrance. It takes more work than before. Snow has drifted across the tunnel and packed into a soft wall. You dig through it slowly from inside, pushing powder outward until pale morning opens. Cold air enters, clean and sharp. It touches your face and feels almost bright. You crawl out. The world has been remade. The pines are bowed under new snow. The boulder above the drift is only partly visible. The open slope beyond Treeline is smooth and white, its earlier marks erased. The ridge appears and disappears behind torn clouds. Sunlight is not yet direct, but the sky is lighter, and the storm has moved far enough away to leave the air still. Your snow cave is almost invisible from a distance. Only the low entrance, the marker branch near the vent, and the small disturbed place where you cleared snow reveal it. Otherwise, it looks like part of the drift, part of the mountain, a soft white form under the last trees. You stand quietly beside it. There is relief, but not excitement, the kind of relief that comes after careful effort, not luck alone. You chose the drift. You shaped the tunnel. You raised the shelf. You cleared the vent. You stayed attentive through the night. The mountain was severe, but you met it with patience. You melt snow again for warm water. This time, you work just outside the entrance where the air is calm. The flame is small, shielded by your pack and a curve of snow. Steam rises faintly from the cup. The first warm sip of morning is even better than the first warm sip of night. The body receives it like news that the day can begin. You eat slowly. The sun touches the upper slope for a moment, turning blowing snow far above into gold dust. Then clouds cover it again. The light remains soft. The world does not rush into brightness. It wakes carefully, as you do. You check the cave once more. It can hold for a while longer if needed. That matters. Even if you plan to descend, knowing the shelter remains behind you gives the mind steadiness. You do not have to leave in panic. You can wait until visibility improves. You can pack slowly. You can let the morning become clear. So you sit near the entrance, wrapped in your outer layer, holding the warm cup with both hands. The tree line is quiet around you. The last pines stand dark and patient. Beyond them, the open mountain waits. Below them, the forest path is hidden, but still there. You will find it when the time comes. For now, there is only morning, snow, breath, and the small cave that carried you through the night. Final descent, held inside the mountain snow. Now let the story become softer. The storm has passed over the ridge. The snow cave has held through the night. The entrance is clear. The vent is open. The sleeping shelf is shaped. The pine boughs are beneath you. The snow walls are quiet around you. There is nothing more to fix right now. Let that be true. You are inside the cave again for a final rest before morning fully opens. The world outside is pale and still. The last pines stand near the drift. Snow rests on their branches. The boulder is rounded in white. The slope above is quiet. The valley below is hidden by distance and cloud. Inside, the cave is calm. The walls glow with soft blue light. The ceiling curves gently overhead. The entrance is a small gray opening. The air is cold, but still. Your breath moves slowly in front of you. Breathe in, snow, pine, and quiet. Breathe out, the body settles. Breathe in, still air inside the cave. Breathe out. The mountain rests. Let your feet soften first. They do not need to climb now. They do not need to kick steps in hard snow. They do not need to search for the trail. Let the legs grow heavy. They can rest on the pine boughs. Let the hips settle. Let the back release. Let the shoulders lower away from the ears. Let the hands become warm near the chest. Let the face soften. The night has already been answered. Every concern was met as it arrived. The entrance was cleared. The vent was opened. The roof was checked. The snow was melted. The body was warmed. The cave was trusted little by little until trust became rest. Now there is only the after quiet, the kind of quiet that comes when weather has moved on and the world has not yet begun again. If thoughts appear, let them become snow outside the entrance. They can gather softly without coming in. If memories appear, let them be candlelight on the wall, glowing for a moment and then fading. If plans appear, let them wait near the tree line until the day is brighter. You do not need to descend yet. You do not need to climb. You do not need to decide the whole route. You only need this breath, and then this one. The snow cave holds its shape around you, not perfectly, not forever, only for now. And now is enough. The mountain outside is wide, but the cave is small. Small enough for warmth, small enough for breath, small enough for sleep. Breathe in slowly, and out, again, in, and out. The snow walls soften every sound. The pines outside are still. The storm is now only a memory moving farther along the ridge. The candle is out. The cup is empty. The pack is closed. The body is resting in the shelter it made with care. Let the mind become quiet like the snow ceiling. Let the body become heavy like the mountain. Let the breath become slow like morning light moving through cloud. Sleep can come now gently, without effort, as softly as snow settling on the cave roof, as quietly as wind fading beyond the last trees, as calmly as blue light filling the hollow after a long winter night. Rest here at the edge of the tree line. Rest inside the snow cave. Rest while the mountain stands around you, while the forest waits below, while the storm moves away, and while nothing more is needed until morning. The blue light inside the cave becomes softer the longer you rest. It does not brighten quickly. It only gathers slowly along the curved walls, turning the snow from dark blue to pale blue to a gentle silver gray. You do not have to watch the change. You can simply feel the room becoming calmer around you. Outside, the last pines hold their snow without complaint. A branch may release a little powder now and then, and it falls with a sound so soft it is almost imagined. The mountain hears it. The cave hears it. Then everything is still again. Your breath is the nearest sound. It comes and goes. It warms the scarf lightly, then fades into the cold air. Each breath proves that the shelter is breathing too. Through the small vent, through the low entrance, through the careful space between safety and air. Let the climb be over for now. Let the digging be over. Let the checks be over. Let the storm belong to the past. The snow cave has become a quiet white room where the body can stop preparing and begin to rest. If you picture the outside world, picture it gently. The slope smooth with new snow, the ridge hidden in cloud, the forest waiting below, the small entrance tucked behind the pines. Everything is calm. Everything can wait. The blue light inside the cave becomes softer the longer you rest. It does not brighten quickly. It only gathers slowly along the curved walls, turning the snow from dark blue to pale blue to a gentle silver gray. You do not have to watch the change. You can simply feel the room becoming calmer around you. Outside, the last pines hold their snow without complaint. A branch may release a little powder now and then, and it falls with a sound so soft it is almost imagined. The mountain hears it. The cave hears it. Then everything is still again. Your breath is the nearest sound. It comes and goes. It warms the scarf lightly, then fades into the cold air. Each breath proves that the shelter is breathing too, through the small vent, through the low entrance, through the careful space between safety and air. Let the climb be over for now. Let the digging be over. Let the checks be over. Let the storm belong to the past. The snow cave has become a quiet white room where the body can stop preparing and begin to rest. If you picture the outside world, picture it gently. The slope smooth with new snow, the ridge hidden in cloud, the forest waiting below, the small entrance tucked behind the pines. Everything is calm. Everything can wait. The blue light inside the cave becomes softer the longer you rest. It does not brighten quickly. It only gathers slowly along the curved walls, turning the snow from dark blue to pale blue to a gentle silver gray. You do not have to watch the change. You can simply feel the room becoming calmer around you. Outside, the last pines hold their snow without complaint. A branch may release a little powder now and then, and it falls with a sound so soft it is almost imagined. The mountain hears it. The cave hears it. Then everything is still again. Your breath is the nearest sound. It comes and goes. It warms the scarf lightly, then fades into the cold air. Each breath proves that the shelter is breathing too, through the small vent, through the low entrance, through the careful space between safety and air. Let the climb be over for now. Let the digging be over. Let the checks be over. Let the storm belong to the past. The snow cave has become a quiet white room where the body can stop preparing and begin to rest. If you picture the outside world, picture it gently. The slope smooth with new snow, the ridge hidden in cloud, the forest waiting below, the small entrance tucked behind the pines. Everything is calm. Everything can wait.